Hello students, I'm Dr. Himanshu Kandpal, Assistant Professor English, Government MS College for Women, Bikaner. Today we are going to start a new poem, The World is Too Much With Us, written by the greatest among the Romantic poets, William Wordsworth. About the poet. William Wordsworth, 1770 to 1850, the leading figure of the 19th century Romantic movement and the great poet of nature and humanity, was born at Cockermouth in Cumberland to John Wordsworth and Anne Coxon. He received his formal education at Grammar School of Hawkshead and St. John's College, Cambridge. Left an orphan at 13, Wordsworth was brought up by an uncle. As a young man, he undertook a walking tour of France and Italy and was deeply influenced by the ideals of French Revolution. Later, in collaboration with Samuel Taylor Coleridge, another Romantic poet, he published lyrical ballads with which began the Romantic revival in English poetry. Wordsworth is not only the initiator but also a leading poet of the movement. His many poems and sonnets are devoted to the description of the beauty of nature, and he believes that all the people are suffering in the world because they are unable to cultivate the habit of loving nature. That's why he is known as a poet of nature and of man. Fate favored him with a comfortable, leisurely life so essential for verse writing. He started his literary career in 1793, but it was with the publication of Lyrical Ballads in 1798, which heralded him as a great poet and etched his name in history. For his substantial contribution to literature, he was made the Poet Laureate in 1843 after the death of Robert Southey. His major works include Lyrical Ballads that was published in 1798, Lines Written Above Tintern Abbey that too published in 1798, The Prelude published in 1805, and The Excursion, among others. He has written some of the beautiful verse which include like the poems Goody Blake, The Thorn, The Idiot Boy, Ode to the Intimations of Immortality, etc. Interpreting the poem The World is Too Much With Us. The poem The World is Too Much With Us is a lyrical sonnet written in 1806 against the backdrop of the Industrial Revolution. It was published in 1807. Capitalism and materialism, the darker sides of Industrial Revolution, had adversely affected the life of people. As a result, everyone was too much involved in worldly, materialistic pursuits. All the people are involved in worldly pursuits in gaining more wealth. Wordsworth was utterly pained. He was pained to see people busy in earning and spending money, paying no heed towards the beauty of nature. The desperate poet wishes to revert to paganism. Pagan means one who does not believe in any of the chief religions of the world and be a worshipper of nature, and thereby experience the sight of sea god Proteus arising out of the sea and Triton blowing his conch shell to calm the sea waves. The poet is disturbed to see that modern man is deeply engrossed in materialistic pursuits. He really felt bad. Wordsworth, as a poet, really felt bad that people are only involved in gaining materialistic things, running after the worldly things, or busy themselves in earning and spending money. And in this pursuit, they do not have time to enjoy nature. He feels that ultimately it is nature which provides solace to human beings. He felt that the remedy of all these materialistic ills lies in taking recourse to pantheism. Here I am going to talk something about pantheism, about Wordsworth's pantheism. The greatest contribution of Wordsworth to the poetry of nature is his unqualified pantheism. He believes that God shines through all the objects of nature, investing them with a celestial light, a light that never wears on sea or land. He finds him in the shining of the stars and marks him in the flowering of the fields. The eminence of God in nature gives him mystic visions. Nature is no longer a mere vegetation subject to the law of growth and decay, not a collection of objects to be described, but a manifestation of God. Nature is a revelation, and Wordsworth is the prophet. The poet emphasizes that outward material pleasures are worthless in comparison to the inward spiritual pleasures which can be experienced only in the company of nature. This is a Petrarchan sonnet with the rhyme scheme ABBA, ABBA, CDC, DCD, and it is written in iambic pentameter. We can see that Wordsworth's delineation of nature is original and remarkable, and he is usually called the harbinger of nature. He is a poet who for the first time penetrated beneath the outward manifestations of nature, that is, he talked about pantheism, and gave to her a separate life and soul. He goes to spiritualize nature and makes her a moral teacher. This spiritual conception of nature, however, did not come at once. There were different stages of growth. So, in this poem, apart from the sanctifying touch of nature, he feels that men and women are poor creatures to Wordsworth. Because, why? Because they are totally engrossed in running after the materialistic things of life. He says that the farther we travel from nature, the more paltry we become. This is the burden of his splendid sonnet. The world is too much with us. Better, he says, in effect, people, the woods and streams, the beautiful things in nature, the plains and the oceans with nymphs and gods and goddesses, and retain something of the fresh simplicity of austere endurance of nature, then give our souls to the mere accumulation of wealth and to the superficial life of pleasure. So, in this poem, the poet talks about the things that people are totally engrossed in worldly materialistic pursuits, and in doing this they pay no heed towards the beauty of nature. According to A.C. Bradley in his book Oxford Lectures on Poetry, he talks about Wordsworth and says that there have been greater poets than Wordsworth, but none more original. He saw new things, or he saw things in a new way. This is about the writer William Wordsworth and his sonnet, The World is Too Much with Us. Thank you.